Hello everyone and welcome to my tutorial for oil painting. So for some time I've had this idea to paint an underwater landscape, and today I finally decided to give it a try. So it's been a while since I tried painting on a canvas, and I was kind of skeptical how this painting would turn out to be. And that's why I'm going to share a few tips that I follow for painting with oil colors, and also walk you through the process of this painting. So firstly, let me tell you about why I decided to go ahead with this idea in the first place. What I was really excited to paint in this was the reflections of the overhead light on the water surface, and also the texture of the coral reefs underneath. Since I had this idea before I started the painting, that is why I'm taking good care to paint around those white highlight areas, and also trying to keep the center portion a little more white to get the effect of the light filtering through the ocean surface. And also this will create a good focal point for the subject later on in my painting. One of the main reasons was that I wanted to try a painting with a monochromatic hue, which in this case is blue. So basically I don't need to worry about a lot of colors and how to mix them in a palette. Even though it has different values and shades and tones, I can still go ahead with one base color and just keep mixing bits and pieces of colors here and there. And the other shade that I would be using going ahead with this would be ultramarine green. So even though I have just started the painting, I have a very specific understanding of the colors that I'm going to use. The other major reason why I chose a landscape over any other subject is that I don't really need to be very specific and precise for creating these kind of shapes, and I can draw directly on the canvas instead of having to do a sketch and then paint over it. Another thing to keep in mind is that every painting, in my opinion, has a base color, which means every painting has that one color which holds it all together. In my painting here, you can see that the color is blue. For example, if you are painting a different idea, let's say a sunset or a sunrise, the base color in this case would be yellow. So when you're thinking about your idea, it's very important to think about what the base color should be. Another reason why I paint in oil colors is that the finishing that oil painting gives is absolutely amazing. So talking about the painting process here, I always like to use a dry brush with less amount of oil when I'm mixing colors, and keep brushing the colors for a seamless effect. Using more oil than colors can leave a little bit of brush marks, which probably you wouldn't want when you finish the painting. If a painting has, let's say, a red and a green color both together, which are exactly opposite on the color wheel, it would be great if you have a base color then, because then these two opposite colors would go well together. So right now I'm working on the coral reef texture that I talked about, and I wanted to use both brush and a spatula for this effect. The reason being that I wanted some areas to have very thick paint and also use a brush because I wanted to merge these paints together. One of the important things to think about when you start a painting is to choose exactly what you want to draw. And to be honest, we have all been there. We cannot decide exactly what we want to draw or want to paint. So my suggestion would be, before we start any painting, always think about how it is going to look on a canvas and what kind of colors you are going to use for it. Makes it easier for you if you have a mental image of your painting, rather than starting a painting and then realizing halfway that you're not getting the colors that you really wanted to. So while doing this, I figured out a way to use my flat brush and rotate it to sort of get this curved texture on the coral reefs. Now also I took notice that one of the reefs was a little farther away from the other one. I had this planned before and I used a little more lighter color to paint the one on the right hand side, which is a little farther away, because that's how perspective color works. Something that you paint in lighter tones always looks a little farther away from your focal point. And while painting the one on the left side, I used very dark colors and I always kept adding touches of green to avoid making it completely monochromatic. It always feels nice to look at painting with different shades of colors rather than having one color monochromatic all the way. I'm not so much of a hyper-realism painter, so I don't like to get into very minute details. I mostly depend on my color compositions and my brush strokes. One important thing to know is that there may be multiple points in the painting where you feel that you have messed up the painting already or have no idea exactly what to do next. In these moments, I suggest you trust your instincts and commit to the process. I know it's probably an easy thing to say but a very hard thing to do. But trust me, to do this, all you need are two things, which is practice and time. So another common question that I always come across is, how do you make your paintings look so great? And how can we get to this point? To be honest, I have never really talked about this before, and there's no straight way to answer this. So I've been painting for many couple of years and I've devoted a lot of time to it, and I believe that somebody who is doing the same thing and painting for a long time can paint something like this, or even better, I would say. I hate to break it to you, but there's no shortcut for this, and the only way that you can make yourself better is by practice. A lot of practice over a period of time. So all I can say is that you need to devote your time to this. It's not something that you have to do, but you want to do it. Only then you'll get the urge to paint again and again until you get better, and you'll also end up with multiple paintings which you will not be happy with. I really can't tell you how many times I have finished a painting and I was not happy with it, so I threw it away. So don't expect that you will be doing great in the first few attempts, but as you keep practicing, I guarantee you that you'll see the difference. So let's talk about the mistakes we make while painting. I often do it, and one of the reasons why I love working with oil paints is that this medium gives you enough flexibility to go back and fix something that went wrong. Since it's an opaque medium, which means that it can cover basically everything up. You can always go back to that portion of the painting after it gets dry and try to fix it up. Now, since I mentioned that I am not a hyper-realistic painter, I am not going to spend a lot of time creating these fishes. And that's why I'm using a spatula loaded with color to just kind of drop them on my canvas and make it look like fishes swimming in an ocean. Now when the colors of the base coat are all dry, now I've left my subject of the painting till the end because I did not want it to end up mixing with the colors below. So since I'm directly painting over the canvas, I need to be a little careful in this one so that I don't need to go back and repaint something if I make a mistake. So usually I take a very small brush and with almost dry paint with very little oil and first create the outline of my subject before putting any heavy colors on that. And after I'm sure that my outline looks great, I start putting on heavy colors with dark and light as intended. I will also keep in mind that my light source is right above, so I will start off with the lighter tones on the top and then make it darker as I go down. I always take extra care on the finishing of a painting because that's where correcting a mistake becomes really difficult. So I'm hoping here that nothing goes wrong and I end up with something similar that I have in mind. All the while, you always have to step back, take a minute, and keep noticing if something looks odd in your painting before putting on the final colors. So now I've finished my painting, and if you liked the things that I talked about, or if you have any further questions that you wanted to ask me, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel and leave a comment below. I really hope that I inspired you to create something of your own, and do let me know how it turns out to be.